Just for unfamiliar viewers, please could you state your name and briefly summarise your involvement with the band?
Okay, I'm Adrian. I'm the bass player with Salem and founder member back in, I think it was 83 when we first started, if I remember rightly. And we had 2 members of Ethel the Frog also as founder members. They left soon afterwards, and I went on with the current lineup that we've got today, 27 years down the line. I also, in recent times, we've recorded new material, and I've engineered it and produced it, which is why we're sat here in this little studio, because this is where it was all done. So that's my involvement with the band.
And how did you and the other members meet back in the day?
Good question. The 2 guys from Ethel the Frog, my sister was married to one of them, so it's quite obvious how I met one of them, and both of them together. And I used to go and watch Ethel the Frog anyway. I'm sure many people did. So I knew them in that way too. When those 2 quit the band, I knew Paul, the lead guitarist, from school. We were at the same school, although he was a different year to me. And so we then advertised for a singer, and as a result of the advert we got Simon, and Simon knew Paul the drummer.
Alright, very good. What was it that got you into rock music?
At school I was into Sparks, funnily enough. Remember Sparks, Ron and Russell Mail, the brothers? Still quite like some of their stuff, but then one day my sister brought in this record in and said, "Adrian, you need to listen to this, it's outstanding." And it was, she put it on, and it was the last track, side 1 of Led Zeppelin Volume 4, currently known as Stairway to Heaven. And I said, "Nah, it's rubbish." And then a couple of days after that, I just had this thing in my head that said, "You need to go back and listen to that again," and I did, and it blew me away, and that was me done. Rock and roll, heavy rock, from that day onwards.
And what was it that made the band decide to reform after 26 years?
Well, Paul McNamara, the guitarist, he started uploading some of his own material to MySpace on the suggestion of his brother. And some of his material was obviously some of the Salem demos, which was included in it. He didn't think anything of it, really, but before he knew what was happening, there was a load of people listening to it saying, "Oh yeah, we remember Salem," and it just snowballed from there. He finally got in contact with us, and we all quite miraculously said, "Oh yeah, we're available. At least we can at least have a meeting together and just meet up and talk about the old times," and it just went on from there.
If the band had never split up, where do you imagine Salem would be today?
Well, you never know. I mean, we were there. We were sort of brushing shoulders with the likes of Maiden and Saxon, so who knows? But we hung around long enough to give the record companies a chance. I don't mean to say that in an arrogant way, to say well, you had your chance, but now we split up. But it's all we wanted was a record deal. I'm sure we would have stayed together if we'd have got even the slightest bit of interest from any of the record companies. And as you say, it was. Who knows where would it be? It might have been us flying a plane in doing a tour instead of Iron Maiden, or as well as Iron Maiden. Who knows? But some things just don't work out, do they?
How do you think the music industry's changed since the 1980s?
Oh, the music industry in general is a lot more cynical than it used to be. It is. If it wasn't money orientated before, it is now, and there's far less emphasis on actual musical talent. I mean, I used to say exactly the same in the 80s, but it's even more so now, in my opinion. There's a lot. Technology has advanced so much. You can do so much with it. It's you can almost make anybody half credible in a recording studio now, which doesn't say much for us, I suppose. But that's where the cynicism is, and it's all about show business and does your face fit? And a lot of the time it's not a lot to do with music. That's the mainstream stuff. If you get away from the mainstream stuff, there's still a lot of talent there, and it's, in that respect, it's the same as it ever was. You know, there's still some good artists around, but they don't get, a lot of them don't get the exposure. Salem being one of them.
Why did the band decide to call it quits in 1983?
Yeah, you've probably come across this term musical differences. I think we just hated each other's guts at the time. Or maybe it was more a case of, you know, we'd given it our best shot and we'd been living in each other's pockets for, I don't know, 5, 6 years and giving it the best we can. And I think it just comes to a natural end when you say, well, we've, you know, that chapter's finished now, let's move on and do something else. Because it just felt like we'd gone to a dead end and nothing else was happening.
Have you found the writing and recording process have gotten easier with time, or is it still a challenge, or is it found difficult?
Well, writing songs is probably the band's strongest point, and it always was.
Yeah.
And I think despite the possible poor quality of the recordings from the 80s, the quality of the songs still shines through. And it never was really a problem for us to write songs. Even now, because you've got easier ways of recording and of helping you with the creative process, it's even easier for us. It's easier than it was before. I think that we're writing songs faster than we can record them. Which is great news, you know, because it means that, you know, at the moment there's just like an eternal tap turned on,
yeah.
And because four of the 5 of us are songwriters, you get this diverse range of songs, still within the heavy rock genre, but it keeps it interesting because you get different types of songs from different writers. So it's for us, that's probably our strongest card to lay, I would have thought. Yeah. And it's just as it flows just as well as it ever did.
What do you think will be the next big thing in the world of metal?
I'm not sure if we've already had it. It's, you know, I suppose I sound like my dad when I say this, but have we already had the best? You know, is there ever going to be anything as good as Stairway to Heaven or Paranoid? You know, where are we going now with it? I think you know, there's only 8 notes in a scale. You can only put them in so many different orders. So I think we're all in the business of rehashing what's already been there, and the groundbreakers have been and gone. That's not to say that I'm disappointed with the genre of heavy metal and heavy rock. That would definitely not be true, because I've just recorded some new tracks myself. So that's clearly not true. I don't know. I think. I would really like to see a band come along with a red hot singer, a Dio type singer, because we haven't got that now, have we really? Or have we? Some people might say Bruce Dickinson, but he's just hasn't got the class of Dio for me, Bruce Dickinson. So I don't know if that is going to be the next thing, but that's what I like to see or hear.